うまく進むと思います。日本は素晴らしいパートナーですし、彼らもことがスムーズに進むことを期待していると思います。これは双方にとってです。
Mr. President, do you have a reaction to the new Time magazine cover that has Elon Musk sitting behind your Resolute desk?
タイムマガジンにイーロン・マスクが大統領の机の後ろで座っている写真がありますけれども、それに関するコメントは何かありますか？
Is Time magazine still in business? I didn't even know that.
まだタイムマガジンは廃刊じゃないんですか？
Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste. You see it with the USAID, but you're going to see it even more so with other agencies and other parts of government. He's got a staff that's fantastic. He's wanted to be able to do this for a long time, and everybody else knew it was existent, but I think never so much when you look at USAID. That's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. Very little being put to good use. Every single line that I look at in terms of events and transactions is either corrupt or ridiculous. And we're going to be doing that throughout government. And I think we're going to be very close to balancing budgets for the first time in many years. I think we're going to be very close to, in addition to monies coming in from tariffs, et cetera, but no, he's doing a very good job. I'm very happy with him.
Will you put Elon Musk up on the podium for us to ask him some questions, Mr. President, at any point? Will you put Elon Musk up on the podium for us to ask him some questions?
Oh, sure, he'll be. He's not shy. Elon's not shy.
Any further deliberations on Gaza, sir? The timetable for a takeover?
No deliberations. It's been very well received, where basically the United States would view it as a real estate transaction, where we'll be an investor in that part of the world, and no rush to do anything. We wouldn't need anybody there. It would be supplied and given to us by Israel. They'll watch it in terms of security. We're not talking about boots in the ground or anything, but I think the fact that we're there, that we have an investment there, I think would go a long way to creating peace. We don't want to see everybody move back and then move out in 10 years. This has been going on for 50 years, much more than that. We just want to see stability. That would be having us have that particular piece in that particular location, I think would show great stability and would lead to great stability in the area for very little money, very little price, and we wouldn't need soldiers at all. That will be taken care of by others. And the investments are taken care of by others also. So for no investment, I mean virtually no investment whatsoever, it would bring stability to the area, and others can invest in it later on. But we're in no rush on it. There's absolutely no rush.
President Trump, do you believe DeepSeek is a national security threat, and how do you plan to collaborate on AI initiatives?
On where?
DeepSeek, do you believe it's a national security threat?
No, I think it's happening. I mean, it's a technology that's happening. It's actually, I think we're going to benefit if it's correct what's going on now, that it'll be a lot less expensive. The AI we're talking about will be a lot less expensive than people originally thought. That's a good thing. I view that as a very good development, not a bad development.
Mr. President, on autos specifically, in your first term, you tried to tariff autos. Is that on the table still? Are you trying to do that in your second administration?
Auto tariff?
Auto tariff?
Oh, yeah, sure. That's on the table. That's always on the table. It's a very big deal. Because we have cases where we don't supply autos and other countries do, and we have to equalize it. We have to stabilize it and equalize it.
Will you have Vice President Vance meet with President Zelensky next week while he's in Europe?
I will probably be meeting with President Zelensky next week, and I will probably be talking to President Putin. I'd like to see that war end for one primary reason. They're killing so many people. You're losing millions of people on a battlefield. In this case, mostly the battlefield. You have 800,000 or 900,000 Russian soldiers are dead and very badly wounded, and the same thing with Ukraine. You have probably 700,000 with Ukraine. The numbers they gave are a little bit lower than that, but I believe those numbers aren't correct. I'd like to see it end just on a human basis. It's terrible what's going on. They have open fields with no protection. The only thing a bullet can hit is a human body, and the human body dies as soon as it gets hit. No, I'd like to see that end. It's a ridiculous war. It would have never started if I were president. That war would have never started. Putin would not have started that war if I were president. And by the way, you wouldn't have had October 7th if I was president either. That mess would not have started. But no, I would very much like to help out. One of the things we're looking at with President Zelensky is having the security of their assets. They have assets underground, rare earth and other things, but primarily rare earth. And we want to have security. Really, we want security because, as you know, Europe is putting up much less money than us, NATO, Europe, call it whatever you want. And we're at probably 300 billion plus, and they're at probably, the real number is 100 billion. That's a lot of money, but it's 200 billion less than us, and there's an ocean in between. And they need it more than us. So we're asking them to equalize and get even. But we're also asking President Zelensky for the security of, we're putting all this money up, and we're saying, where does it stop? And yet, we want to see it out to an end. We want to see it end. But we are going to be asking for the security, and we've already told him, of an equal amount of something where our money, I mean, the American taxpayers in for $300 billion. Biden never negotiated. He never told Europe to put in more money, and it got out of hand, just like NATO. NATO, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. When I first came in, everybody was taking advantage of the good old United States, but not anymore. So what, and now, if you speak to the Secretary General of NATO, who was very nice when he was here 2 weeks ago, he said what Trump did was amazing. He got everybody to pay. And to do that, you have to ask, and Biden never asked. So we're in for probably close to $200 billion more than Europe, and yet obviously it affects Europe much more than us. So we would like them to stay, to equalize. They have to go more. And from our standpoint, we do want security and all this money that we're putting up.
And you're speaking with him next week, sir? Is that what you said?
You're going to speak
He may meet next week, yeah. Whenever he'd like. I'm here. I'm here. Could be Washington. Well, I'm not going there. It's,
Are you planning to meet with President Putin, or are you just planning
it
a
could
phone
be,
call?
it could be. We've always had a good relationship. President Putin and I have always had a good relationship. That's why it's so sad that it happened. This would have never happened if I were president. It's so sad to see it happen. So many dead people. By the way, so many cities are demolished. They're like, you talk about Gaza? Well, take a look at Ukraine. So many of those cities are demolition sites, demolished. So sad. Should have never happened. All those beautiful golden domes, but much more importantly, all those beautiful people are dead. And it should have never happened. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Brad. Let's go, guys. Come on, guys. Hey, let's go. Thank you, guys. Let's exit. Thank you, guys. Let's go, guys. Out this way. Guys, let's go. Come on. Thank you. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Guys, let's go. Let's move, guys. Guys, let's go. Guys. All right, guys, come on. All right, thank you, guys. Let's go. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Guys, let's go. Come on. Out. Out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Japan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with the Prime Minister. We had a picture taken a little while ago, and it was so nice, I thought I'd present it to you on stage. And I wish I was as handsome as him, but I'm not.
石破さんほどハンサムだったらよかったんですけれども、私はそれほどハンサムには映ってないかもしれませんが。
Okay, thank you. Oh.
remember that day. Thank you very much,
あの日も覚え
everybody.
ております。皆様お集まりいただきまして
I'm
ありがとう
delighted
ご
to
ざいます。
welcome Japanese Prime
日本
Minister
の首相
Ishiba
石
Shigeru
破茂
to the White House for the first time. Prime Minister, it's an honor to have you with us, a great honor. Japan is a great country. Very much. Japan is strong and proud. It's a nation that is home to one of the great civilizations in the history of the world. For nearly 80 years, the American-Japanese people have enjoyed a friendship like few others, a great friendship across the vast ocean. And found ourselves united by bonds of history, commerce, culture, mutual admiration, and great respect. After our meeting today, I'm confident that the cherished alliances between our two countries and others also will continue to flourish along and into the future. The military cooperation between the United States and Japan is one of our closest security partnerships, and it's one of the closest we have anywhere in the world. Our service members work together every day to defend our common interests. Japan is committed to double its defense spending by 2027 compared to my first term. They've invested a lot of money because of my first term. We worked on that very hard with Shinzo. You know, the great Shinzo Abe. And we look forward to seeing even more so. Shinzo and I worked very, very long and hard, and those numbers are very reflective after my first term. And now they're going up very substantially based on our conversations today. In addition to being vital for our shared security, Japan is one of the top purchasers of U.S. military exports and equipment. And I'm pleased to say that this week my administration approved nearly $1 billion in foreign military sales to Tokyo. The United States is totally committed to the security of Japan. We will extend the full strength of American deterrence capabilities in defense of our friend and ally, 100%. In the years to come, the Prime Minister and I will be working closely together to maintain peace and security, and I also say peace through strength, and all over the Indo-Pacific. And to that end, we also remain committed to the effort I began in my first term to ensure safety and stability on the Korean Peninsula. Prime Minister Ishiba and I spoke long and hard about a vital economic relationship between our two countries and the continuance of that relationship. The United States and Japan trade over $300 billion in goods and services each year. Japan has invested nearly $800 billion, and that's going to go up very, very substantially in the coming months, more than any other country. And they're going to have some competition. We have a lot of people coming in and investing in the United States. I think the feeling throughout the world has never been stronger about this country. As a result of our victory in 2024, the presidential election, the Japanese investment and technology giant SoftBank announced plans to invest between $100 and $200 billion. And we have many other companies investing that number, higher than that number, some a little bit less, but we have trillions of dollars of investment pouring into our country now that you didn't have just a short while ago. Today, our teams discussed how our two nations can do even more to stay on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence, along with the quantum computing, semiconductors, and other critical technologies. And they're coming out. The problem with technology, that kind, it's obsolete in about 2 days, so we have to start all over again. Doesn't last long. We agreed to cooperate even more closely to combat the Chinese economic aggression, which is quite aggressive. I'm also pleased to announce that Japan will soon begin importing historic new shipments of clean American liquefied natural gas in record numbers. It'll be record numbers. With our Secretary of the Interior, we were talking, I think Doug is here. Hello, Doug. Please stand up, Doug. Doug Burgum, everybody. We're talking about the pipeline in Alaska, which is the closest point of major oil and gas to Japan by far, less than half the distance of any other location. We're talking about a joint venture of some type between Japan and us, having to do with Alaska oil and gas, and that's very exciting. They're very excited about it, so are we. As we deepen our economic relationship, I made clear that the United States will be conducting trade with all countries based on the principle of fairness and reciprocity. Chronic trade deficits not only undermine our economy, they really do, and we're going to get rid of the trade. We have a trade deficit with Japan of over $100 billion, but we're going to work that out, and I think very quickly, frankly. We can do it just on oil and gas. We can work it out, so we intend to do it very quickly. We both understand that. And as America welcomes new foreign investment, we also want to ensure that companies build their products and factories here in America, not simply buy the assets that we have. And Japan is going to be opening up auto plants. New auto plants are being built currently as we speak. They've just been started. Toyota's one. Nissan's going to be doing something very exciting about U.S. Steel. They'll be looking at an investment rather than a purchase. Like the idea, U.S. Steel is a very important company to us. It was the greatest company in the world for 15 years, many years ago, 80 years ago. And we didn't want to see that leave. And it wouldn't actually leave, but the concept, psychologically not good. So they've agreed to invest heavily in U.S. Steel as opposed to own it. And that sounds very exciting. And we're going to meet with Nissan next week, the head of Nissan, very great company, and they'll work out the details. I'll help. I'll be there to mediate and arbitrate. And I had the privilege of working closely with the great Prime Minister, as you know, and you know him very well, Shinzo Abe, the longest-serving Prime Minister in Japan's history. Likewise, I expect that this Prime Minister is going to be a great one. I really believe that he's going to be a great one. I've gotten to know him for not long, but I can see what they have. He's got the qualities of greatness. He's going to do a fantastic job for Japan and for the Japanese people. And I'd like now to invite the Prime Minister to say a few words, and then we'll take some questions. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President Trump, I would like to sincerely thank you for inviting me to the White House today, immediately following your inauguration. I also thank you for your very warm hospitality. I have come to Washington, D.C. with the hope of having a face-to-face meeting and deepening our mutual understanding at this early date with President Trump, who is now leading the United States, the most important country for Japan's diplomacy and security, and aligning our perspectives and visions that Japan and the United States should pursue. What should we do to advance the national interests of both of our countries in synergy and to realize peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific? I am convinced that the answer lies in further strengthening the strong and unwavering Japan-U.S. alliance to achieve a free and open Indo-Pacific. President and I concurred to strengthen the deterrence and response capabilities of the alliance and to work closely in addressing strategic challenges that both countries are facing in this region. I conveyed to the President that Japan, as an ally of the United States, is ready to share responsibilities and to play its own role. I also reiterated Japan's unwavering commitment to fundamentally reinforcing its defense capabilities, and we confirmed the unwavering commitment by the United States to the defense of Japan. We reaffirmed that Article 5 of the Japan-U.S. Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security applies to the Senkaku Islands, with half of the world's population and approximately 60% of the world's GDP The Indo-Pacific serves as the engine of growth and vitality for Japan, the United States, and the world. President and I also concurred that the United States and Japan will make further efforts in a wide range of areas, working hand in hand together to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific. In this context, we also concurred to further advance cooperation of the multi-layered networks of the like-minded countries, including the Quad and trilateral cooperation with the Republic of Korea and the Philippines. We also discussed Japan-United States cooperation to bring about growth and prosperity. Economic cooperation, including on economic security, is important from the perspective of strengthening alliance cooperation. Japan is the closest economic partner of the United States and has been the world's largest investor in the United States for 5 consecutive years. Also, with the inauguration of President Trump, the momentum for Japanese companies to invest in the United States is growing even stronger. Today, I conveyed my willingness to cooperate together to elevate Japan's investment in the United States to an unprecedented amount of $1 trillion. President Trump and myself also concurred to elevate the Japan-US partnership to an even higher level through improving business environment and increasing bilateral investment and employment, strengthening each other's industries, leading the world in developing advanced technologies such as AI and leading-edge semiconductors, and strongly promoting efforts to harness the energy of the growing market in the Indo-Pacific region. We also confirmed that we will cooperate to strengthen energy security between the two countries, including increasing exports of the United States liquefied natural gas to Japan in a mutually beneficial manner. Regarding foreign exchange, as in the first Trump administration, close discussions will continue between Japanese and the U.S. finance ministers who are experts in this field.
We also held candid discussions on challenges the Indo-Pacific region is facing. We confirmed that we are resolved not to allow unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion, and to oppose such attempts in the East and South China Seas in order to fully defend a free and open Indo-Pacific. 同時に台湾海峡の平和と安定の重要性も改めて確認しました。北朝鮮につきましては、日米そして世界にとっての深刻な脅威となっております。核・ミサイル開発への対処の必要性、そして北朝鮮の完全な非核化に向け、日米が連携して取り組んでいくことを確認をいたしました。拉致被害者とそのご家族がご高齢となられる中、私の強い切迫感と決意を大統領に直接お伝えし、拉致問題の即時解決に向けた大統領の力強い支持を改めていただいたところであります。トランプ大統領とは初めて対面でお会いをしたのでありますが、胸襟を開き、率直に意見を交わすことができましたこと、そして内容も充実した非常に有意義な会談になったと、このように思っておるところでございます。日米関係にとっての新たな船出となりました本日の会談の成果として、私たちは日米首脳共同声明を発出いたします。これは今後の日米協力のいわば羅針盤となる文書であります。この成果をもとに、私は敬愛してやまないトランプ大統領とともに、日米関係の新たな黄金時代を築いてまいりたいと考えております。次回はぜひ大統領閣下を日本でお迎えできますことを心待ちにいたしております。 I am very excited about that prospect. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions, please? Peter?
Peter, どうぞ。
President Trump, I'm Elon DOGE. Elon Musk
イーロン・マスクがドナルド・トランプを愛していると、素晴らしい人間だと。
Oh, I think she'll be okay with it somehow.
民主主義の駅員たち、エンジニアたちが、その財務省のデータにアクセスできるという。これはアメリカの国民が懸念することだと思うんですけど。
Well, it doesn't, but they get it very easily. I mean, we don't have very good security in our country, and they get it very easily. And what we're doing, if you look at what has just taken place with respect to some of the investments that have been made on another agency that people have been talking about for years, but nobody did anything about it, it's absolutely obscene, dangerous, bad, very costly. I mean, virtually every investment made is a con job. There's nothing of value to anybody unless there's a kickback scheme going on, which is possible. And we're going to be doing more and more of that. We're going to be looking at Department of Education. We're going to be looking at even our military. We're going to be looking at tremendous amounts of money, Peter, being spent on things that bear no relationship to anything and have no value. We're talking about trillions of dollars. It will be, in the end, trillions of dollars being absolutely wasted and perhaps illegally. I would say certainly in many cases illegally, but perhaps illegally overall. And I'm very proud of the job that this group of young people, generally young people, but very smart people, they're doing. They're doing it at my insistence. It would be a lot easier not to do it. But we have to take some of these things apart to find the corruption, and we found tremendous corruption.
We saw Democratic lawmakers trying to get into the Department of Education earlier today.
Oh, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country. We want great education. So they rank 40 countries in education. We're ranked dead last. But the good news is we're number one in one category. You know what that is? Cost per pupil. We spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. You look at Norway, Denmark, Sweden, various countries all up and down, Finland. China does very well in education. And then you look at us. We spend much more money than they do per pupil, or any other way. But we spend much more money than they do, and yet we're ranked this year. Biden's last year, congratulations, Joe, we're ranked dead last. So what I want to see is education. Number one, I like choice. We all like choice. But beyond choice, long beyond choice, I want to see it go back to the states where great states that do so well have no debt. They're operated brilliantly. They'll be as good as Norway or Denmark or Sweden or any of the other highly ranked countries. They'll probably have 35 to 38 states will be right at the top. And the rest will come along. They'll have to come along competitively. And by the way, we'll be spending a lot less money. And we'll have great education.
Cutting effort. One of the DOGE engineers was fired for some inappropriate posts. The vice president says, bring him back. What do you say?
Well, I don't know about the particular thing, but if the vice president said that, did you say that? I'm with the vice president. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes, red dress.
Do you want Japan's military to be? And do you specifically hope that their increased military spending will deter China and North Korea? What did you talk about that today?
Well, I want our military to be the strongest. I also don't mind spending so much money on the military because we build it here. It's made in the USA, all made in the USA. We have, I rebuilt our military during my first term. Did a great job. We left some of it behind in Afghanistan, stupidly. There was no reason for that, but it was still as much as it was. It was billions and billions of dollars, but it was a small part of it. But we're going to have the strongest military by far. We have great people. I want to congratulate Pete Hegseth for having gone through the gauntlet. He went through a lot, but he got through, and he's going to be a tremendous, I have no doubt he's going to be a tremendous leader. And other of the leaders sitting here, they're in their own fields, we're going to do something very, very, very great, and we expect great things. But I expect the strongest military by far in the world, far stronger than China, far stronger than anybody, and that's the way it is. Thank you very much. Would you like to ask a question, please? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
This is Hiramoto from Nippon Television. My question, let me ask two quick questions.
Sure.
First, this is the first meeting between Mr. President and Prime Minister Ishiba. So what kind of impression do you have on him? And number two, do you have an idea or do you have a plan to impose tariff against Japan so far? Thank you.
I think that he is going to be a great prime minister. I think he's a very strong man, very, very strong. I have great respect for him. I've known him for a long time through a reputation. Shinzo Abe thought the world of him, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job as prime minister. A very strong person. I wish he wasn't so strong. I wish he was a little bit weaker than that, but that's what I got. I have to get strong guys all the time. He's going to be a great prime minister. I also, in terms of tariffs, I mean, we're going to have tariffs, mostly reciprocal tariffs, where we go with, and I'm going to be probably meeting on that Monday or Tuesday, have an announcement, probably a news conference, but probably reciprocal tariffs where a country pays so much or charges us so much, and we do the same. So very reciprocal, because I think that's the only fair way to do it. That way, nobody's hurt. They charge us, we charge them. It's the same thing. And I seem to be going in that line, as opposed to a flat fee tariff. Okay. Yes, go, please. Please, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead?
読売新聞の太田です。よろしくお願いいたします。石破首相にお伺いいたします。初めての首脳会談になりましたが、トランプ大統領の印象はいかがでしたでしょうか。信頼関係を構築することができたとお考えでしょうか。また北東アジアでは対中国、対北朝鮮などさまざまな課題があります。冒頭でもご発言がありましたが、トランプ大統領には日米同盟強化に向けて何を特に強く訴えてどのような理解を得られましたでしょうか。また経済分野では日本製鉄の US スチール回収計画やAI 産業などへの日本企業の投資や LNG 輸入拡大などさまざまなテーマがあると思いますが、トランプ大統領の間でどのようなやり取りがありましたでしょうか。総理から説明された日本による1兆ドルの対米投資について、トランプ大統領の反応はいかがでしたでしょうか。また関税や防衛費増額についてのやり取りも教えてください。
What about your communication on tariff front? This is the first time that I met with President Trump in person. So this was the first time meeting face to face. But for many, many years, I have watched him on television. So it was quite I was so excited to see such a celebrity on television, to see in person. On television, he is frightening, and he has a very strong personality. But when I met with him, actually, he was very sincere and very powerful, and with strong will for the United States as for the whole world. I was able to feel that. This is not the sort of polishing or trying to suck up to him. For the world peace and for the regional stability that both of our countries need to play our role and make our endeavors and responsibility. As for the increase of our defense expenditures, it is not that we are told by the United States to do so. Japan, on our own decision, on our own responsibility, we need to increase our defense expenditures. But of course, we need to communicate and consult with the United States. But the responsibility is with Japan, and the decision is with Japan. Now, on the tariffs, that
互いの利益となるような
If it is
形で
mutually
それは
beneficial,
設定されるべきものでありま
tariffs
す。
need
日
to
本
be
国は日本国として
set.
今大統領
And
閣
as
か
for
ら
Japan,
紹
as
介があり
Mr.
ましたよう
President
に、
has
かつ
introduced
て
to
ない
us,
規模の投資を合衆国に
an
行い、そして
unprecedented
多くの雇用を
investment
創
will
出
be
す
made
る
from
という
Japan
こと
to the
で、
United
1
States,
兆ドル
and
と
so
いうも
many
のを
jobs
視野に、
will be
これから
created.
先さらに
So
拡大をさせてい
$1
き
trillion
ます
is the
それ
target.
はアメリカの利益であると同
And
時
this
に
will
日
be
本
to
国
the
の利益
benefit
に
of
も
the
なる
United States,
そうい
but
うことでな
also
ければ
to
な
the
りません
benefit of
投資というのは
Japan
そういう
as
も
well.
のでございます
Investment
で
is
すから US
mutually
チールにいた
beneficial.
しましても
So be
今
it
大統
with
領から
US
言及があ
Steel,
りましたように
as
買
Mr.
収ではない
President
投
says,
資
it
な
is
の
not
だ
acquisition,
その
it
こ
is
とによって
investment.
さらに日本の技術も
So
加え
the
て
Japanese
良い製品
technology
を作り出し
will
そし
be
てそれが
provided,
日
and
本
the
ア
better
メリカそ
quality
して世界に
products
貢
will
献でき
be
る US チールの製品が生み出され
in
て
the
いく
United
ことに
States,
日本
and
も
the
投資を
US
行う
Steel
とい
will
う
make
ことで
products
ど
which
ち
will
らかが利
contribute
益を
not
得る
only to the
非常に
United
一方
States
的
and
な
Japan,
関係
but
にならない
also to the
そういう
whole
ことを
world.
大統領
It
と
is
の間で
not
強く
one-sided. It will be reciprocal.
認
It
識を
will
共
be
有したところであ
mutually
りますそれが
beneficial.
本日
And I
の大きな
believe
成
we
果
were
だった
able
とい
to
うふうに
share
私は考えてい
on
ると
this.
ころで
And
ござい
that
ま
is
す
the biggest result that I have seen today.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. I wanted to ask you about that U.S. Steel deal. So you're saying that is this a restructuring of the deal that's happening, and then will you
They're doing it as an investment, no longer a purchase. I didn't want it purchased, but investment I love. And they're going to do a big investment, subject to getting the deal done. And they'll be doing a big.
where the
I'm
U.S.
okay with that, sure.
Prime Minister, what was your argument to the President related to U.S. Steel? And one more on tariffs, Mr. President, if I could.
なんですけれども、首相にも伺いたいですが、タリフについて、関税についてですけれども、日本の首相がその関税のことについて言ったときにどういうリアクションでしたかということですが、関税のことは話し合っておりません。アラスカパイプラインの方が非常にエキサイティングなことだったと思います。クリスもそう賛成してくれると思います。日本はパイプラインに興味を示してくれました。で、オイル、ガスについてはサウジアラビアよりも埋蔵量がたくさんあるということで、米国にとっての非常に大きな資産であるので、ベネズエラとかそのところに行って掘るよりも、誰もそういったことをこの4年ぐらいは分かってくれなかったということなんですけれども、日本側もなぜそれをやらなかったのかと驚いておりました。LNG を買いたいにもかかわらずバイデンが売らなかったということですね。多分環境に関係することかもしれないかもしれませんけれども、どうですか？アラスカパイプラインについて。
If you want to answer that,
何かこれについて LNG ですね、米国が LNG を売らなかったということについてはどういうふうに考えられましたか？
我々として非常に残念なことではありましたが、前政権においてこの許可というものはなされなかったということであります。トランプ大統領が就任当日だったと思いますが、このことについての明快な解決策を示していただいたということは日本国にとって非常にありがたいことでございました。我が日本国といたしまして、LNG のみならず、バイオエタノールであり、あるいはアンモニアであり、そういうような資源というものを安定的にリーズナブルな価格で提供されるということは日本国にとっての利益でもございます。そしてアメリカの貿易赤字、対日貿易赤字を減らすことにもつながるということでございます。私どもとして安定的にリーズナブルな価格でエネルギーが提供されているのは大きな利益でございますので、トランプ大統領の決断を非常に感謝をし、そしてまたこれから先 LNG の採掘というものが成功裏に進展することを期待しているものでございます。
I want to just say that on the ethanol, Iowa is going to be very happy. All of the Nebraska, all of our farm states are going to be very happy. They want ethanol, and we'll be able to provide it. So our farmers, who I like and they like me, I think they're going to be very, very happy. We've opened the sale of LNG immediately. Actually, we did it a few days ago. And China, right now, not only China, everybody wants to buy it. We have more than anybody, and they're all buying it. But Japan in particular, we're very happy that they're going to start immediately. And we can supply it to the world, but we're supplying it to Japan, and they can always be right up in the front of the line. Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Mr. Prime Minister, I have a question for you as well, but Mr. President, I'll start with you. Well, quickly to follow up on what Peter was asking, have you directed Elon Musk to review Pentagon spending, given it's the biggest discretionary spending in the federal budget?
Education, just about everything. We're going to go through everything, just as it was so bad with what we just went through, this horrible situation we just went through. And I guess 97% of the people have been dismissed. It was very, very unfortunate. You're not going to find anything like that, but you're going to find a lot. And I've instructed him to go check out education, to check out the Pentagon, which is the military. And, you know, sadly, you'll find some things that are pretty bad, but I don't think proportionally you're going to see anything like we just saw.
FBI has turned over a list to the Justice Department of the FBI agents who worked on the January 6 rioters cases. Are you planning to fire the FBI agents who worked on those investigations?
No, but I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, and we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone. And it'll be done quickly and very surgically. Did you have a question for the Prime Minister?
首相に何かご質問があったんではないですか？
Talk up.
もっと大きな声でどうぞ。
1
月6日の人たちに関しては、腐敗している人たちもいるということですね。評判を FBI の評判を上げたいと思います。キャッシュパテルは非常にいい仕事をしております。FBI は評判が悪かった。この4年間全然ダメだった。それを評判を盛り返したいというふうに思っております。トランプ大統領と一番初めて会見をされたということなんですけれども、北朝鮮について
Would you like to see him resume that contact and also that in-person meeting that he had with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un?
金正恩との会談を大統領にしていただきたいと思ってらっしゃいますか？
That
is something that the United States needs to determine on its own, and it's not something that we should request. Having said that, but for example, in Vietnam or Singapore, the President of the United States, President Trump was able to meet with Kim Jong-un. I think that's a very positive development. So now that President Trump is in power again, if we are able to move towards resolving issues with the North Korea, I think it would be great. And of course, for us, that includes not only denuclearization, but also resolving the abductee issue. And so not only the victims of the abductees, but also their families too are aging, and so our time is limited. So if the President of the United States, if President Trump is able to resolve this issue, we do understand that it's a Japan issue first and foremost. Having said that, we would love to continue to cooperate with them.
It's actually a good question, and we will have relations with North Korea and with Kim Jong-un. I got along with him very well, as you know. I think I stopped the war. I think if I wouldn't have won that particular election, you would have ended up in a very bad situation. But I did, and we had a good relationship, and I think it's a very big asset for everybody that I do get along with him. I get along with him, he gets along with me, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I can tell you that Japan likes the idea because their relationship is not very good with him. And if I can have a relationship with not only him, but other people throughout the world where there seem to be difficulties, I think it's a tremendous asset for the world, not just the United States. Go ahead.
Prime Minister as well.
Mr. President, I wonder what you make of the criticism from Democrats that these staff reductions, the cuts that Elon Musk and DOGE are doing are an unlawful power grab. Is there anything you've told Elon Musk he cannot touch?
Well, we haven't discussed that much. I'll tell him to go here, go there. He does it. He's got a very capable group of people. Very capable. They know what they're doing. They'll ask questions and they'll see immediately as somebody gets tongue-tied that they're either crooked or don't know what they're doing. We have very smart people going in, so I've instructed him go into education, go into military, go into other things as we go along. And they're finding massive amounts of fraud, abuse, waste, all of these things. So, but I will pick out a target and I say go in. There could be areas that we won't, but I think everything's fertile. You know, we're a government. We have to be open. And as an open government, I don't know, I guess you could say maybe some high intelligence or something, and I'll do that myself if I have to. But generally speaking, I'll just say no, but he will be looking at education pretty quickly, and he will be looking at military too.
Bulk of federal spending is Social Security, Medicare, programs like that. Would you like to see him look at those programs as well?
Well, they don't really have to be looked at by him. They can be looked at by us. Social Security will not be touched. It'll only be strengthened. We have illegal immigrants on Social Security, and we're going to find out who they are and take them out. We have illegal immigrants in other Medicare. We found a lot of bad people, a lot of people that shouldn't be on, that were put on through California. A lot of them come out of California. We're not going to stand for that. So we're going to strengthen our Social Security, etc. We're not going to touch it other than to make it stronger. But we have people that shouldn't be on, and those people we have to weed out. Most of them, or many of them so far, have been illegal immigrants. They shouldn't even be in the country. Do you have a question for the Prime Minister?
Mr. Prime Minister, the President's affinity for tariffs is well known. If the U.S. places tariffs on Japanese imports, would Japan retaliate?
家庭のご質問にはお答えをいたしかねますというのが日本の大体定番の国会答弁でございます。
That's the official answer that we have.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. Wow. That's very good. He knows what he's doing. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.